Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. Now, I did see a comment on my previous XRP video, and it basically said, Nick, I want you to go in depth on some of the stuff happening around FTX and things like that. Because if you guys did miss it, of course, yes, Sam Bankman-Fried basically got major charges dropped against him. Now, I seen this post recently from Simon Dixon that really kind of sums it up, right? Sam Bankman-Fried lost $8 billion worth of client money. We're talking retail investors, hard-earned money. He donated $100 million in stolen customer funds to U.S. politicians. The US government are prosecuting his fraud, but dropping his political campaign finance violations and likely won't claw back the politicians for victims. This is very, very interesting. Now, as we look beyond this, we have this video that got posted by Colin Rugg, and we actually have Digital Asset Investor quoting it, saying, "There is no US anymore until some of these politicians and government operatives start seeing jail time. It won't stop until they see repercussions for their corruption." And yeah, the problem is that will they ever see any repercussions? I highly doubt it. So here is actually a video of Sam Bankman-Fried, and we have Maxine Waters over here. But we have here, just in, the US government is dropping 6 charges against crypto scammer Sam Bankman-Fried, including campaign finance violations and conspiracy to commit bribery charges. Making bribes with stolen money is fine as long as that money is going to US politicians. SBF donated $100 million during the 2022 midterms, pouring tens of millions into dark money groups with customer funds. Some of these groups were linked to Senate leaders, including Mitch McConnell and even Chuck Schumer. Here is Maxine Waters blowing him a kiss. And you know what's funny about all of this? How long did XRP holders have to wait to see any major update regarding the case? They went, the SEC, for an example, right, went on a warpath for the last few years, going after major companies, going after major projects. And we all asked the question, why? Why? What is going on here? Then we have FTX walk through the doors of the SEC, have private meetings with Gary Gensler. Nothing happened at all. Then when FTX implodes and Gary Gensler is sitting before Congress and they're asking him serious questions, there is zero transparency, zero answers. What is going on? What's actually happening here? This is clear corruption. No major answers at all. We're even talking about charges being dropped. You know why these charges were dropped? Because if these charges were still there, they would have to go after and they would have to make transparent all those that received donations. And I could guarantee you, I think we know who received some of those donations. Outside of this, right, we have the CLO of Coinbase making a statement. A few thoughts on the DOJ's decision not to pursue campaign finance charges against SBF. I think it's a mistake. Line prosecutors and supervisors have far more information on a case than anyone on the outside ever will. So I'm always reluctant to second guess an agency filled with good people trying to do the right thing. Resources and efficiency, as well as issues with the extradition, are worthy considerations in weighing a second trial against the men who should go away for a long time either way. That said, I think this is a miscarriage of justice. The public interest in a public airing of charges almost always matters. Campaign finance charges are at the very top of this list. What politicians and others knew what and when are critical questions that deserve answers. Dropping this on a Friday night before a holiday only fuels public cynics about the politics of all of this. Damn shame. And listen, when we look at what has happened in the last few years, specifically, let's just go back to when FTX actually imploded. Do you remember what was being thrown around? To save you going back in time to that point, we seen Elizabeth Warren and all of her, buddy friends in the regulatory offices talking about how this is a pure example on why we need to have strict rules and regulations around crypto, and we need to give all the power to those in power right now that are doing such a good job, I mind you, right? It was all an example, right? It was to make an example out of FTX so that they could go after crypto even harder. So at the end of the day, when we really look at FTX, this was a seed that they planted anyways. And I also believe that it was a campaign financing operation hidden in disguise, aka money laundering in its finest. We also have over here, the MSM deliberately lied about SBF, trying to make him more sympathetic. The Michael Lewis book, the Bloomberg movie, it was fraud, not ruin, and many more efforts to obfuscate what he did. Why? So when the DOJ decided not to follow the money to see who benefited from all his gifts of stolen funds, there would be no public uproar. It was a coordinated PR effort to protect the recipients, and that's all they care about here. Go over here to Nick Carter. Now that the campaign finance violation charges against SBF have been mysteriously dropped, we have our answer. And what he was saying back in September was, at a certain point, we are going to have to investigate whether Barbara Fried is being protected from prosecution because she is a Democrat dark money bundler. This is a colossal travesty and a complete miscarriage of justice. We deserve to know what Sam accomplished in DC and who took money from him. There is overwhelming public interest in that coming to light. And what's crazy about all of this is think about how big of a corrupt scheme this actually is. I mean, listen, outside of fraud and money laundering and all of this, think about how much bigger FTX grows day by day. Like, we thought it was big when it imploded. It's so much bigger than just the money. Look at all of the connections. Look at all the people that were tied back to FTX. I mean, realistically speaking, this is so big that it overshadows any fraud in history. And we're talking about even Madoff, you name it. This is absolutely insane. Johnny Deaton. Despite her stance regarding crypto, Elizabeth Warren has been silent regarding the lack of an investigation or even indictments for Joe Bankman and even Barbara Fried, even though they owned millions and millions of dollars in luxury real estate in the Bahamas paid for by customer money from FTX. Warren claims crypto is nothing more than a conduit for terrorists, drug cartels, and criminals, yet she hasn't even called out the criminals in DC, including people in her party who likely conspired with SBF to violate campaign finance laws during the midterm elections. It is highly suspected that Barbara Fried was the conduit facilitating these violations of finance campaign laws. Yet Elizabeth Warren has said absolutely nothing, silent regarding her friend Joe Bankman's involvement, and now silent regarding these campaign finance violations. Why? What is going on? Despite her stance on crypto and being on the Senate Banking Committee, which is supposed to conduct oversight over the SEC, Warren has not asked for the notes between Gensler and SBF despite their 2 meetings. Why? In fact, we all know she gave Gensler the questions and answers to the questions she intended to ask before a hearing, although none of those questions were about Gensler's multiple meetings with SBF. Why? Did she coordinate with Jamie Dimon, who lied under oath and testified the only use case for crypto is for illicit activity, despite his company using crypto to conduct cross-border payments and totaling $1 billion per month? Maybe someone could figure out 2 things. One, if there's a personnel connection between Warren and Barbara Fried. I know about her connection with Joe Bankman, who was the architect of her tax plan when she ran for president. Did Warren meet SBF when he was lobbying DC and making donations to her colleagues? This is all information that should 100% be made public and transparent. We need to know the answers. And also, for all of those out there, do you want to know something absolutely crazier than all of these major connections? Look at who else was behind FTX. Big shout out to Cowboy Crypto 313 for this. For those who don't know, BlackRock invested big in FTX. Prior to crypto, Sam Bankman and Caroline Ellison both worked at Jane Street Capital. Now BlackRock includes Jane Street in its S1 amendment as an authorized participant alongside JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon said crypto should be shut down a couple weeks ago, and now they are on BlackRock's plan of distribution. Did BlackRock fund Sam Bankman and Ellison to cause this implosion? Now the DOJ doesn't plan to pursue Bankman. Remember Katie Hahn, who was friends with Bankman's mom, who told to shut down Bitcoin while at the DOJ? Looks to me like a giant government show. And here we have BlackRock funds, Temasek, Tiger Invest, another $420 million into FTX crypto exchange. And then also, here we have the major names tied to this plan of distribution with the BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF. What's crazy about all of this, right, is the statement here. The question: did BlackRock fund the SBF and FTX implosion? When we talk about this, right, people are probably going to say, this is crazy to think about. No, it's not. BlackRock and these big players are among the largest market manipulators in history. How do you think they got so wealthy? How do you think they have so many assets under management? How do you think the world actually works? The big giants, the wealthiest individuals out there, they get rich constantly off of implosions, off of the retail sector losing. Look at the big banks. They profited the most during the 2008 implosion of, the entire economy. Big banks win all the time. Big players like BlackRock win all the time as well. When we talk about this implosion, I would not take anything for granted here. When we talk about that implosion, the biggest players out there were probably buying it up. The same exact way that, fast forward almost a year later, we have all of them filing for ETFs. Oh, we're going to file for a Bitcoin spot ETF. And then mainstream media jumps on it. It's a domino effect. Everyone's, jumping on the ETFs. Think about how crazy the coincidences are. BlackRock, all of a sudden, in the middle of 2023, talking about how tokenization and blockchain and even Bitcoin is the most incredible thing ever. We had Larry Fink talking about how Bitcoin is going to transcend every other asset class. So yeah, I wouldn't look past BlackRock causing this implosion, being the major, player behind it, having the regulators on payroll, because again, the SEC let FTX walk right through the doors and walk right back out with zero action against them. The way that I look at it, cause the implosion, buy up the entire market as much as they possibly can. All of a sudden, when the time is right, talk about how bullish Bitcoin is and how great tokenization is. Get the flood back in. Talk about Bitcoin ETFs, pump it as much as you possibly can, and then dump on the retail sector like they usually do. This is a classic game of manipulation. That's all this is. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.